Hello again. This is Marco and Lierin from Super T Studios.
Hello.
And we just wanted to talk today a little bit about the different factions that you have on the table with you.
In Conspiracy Prophecy 2017.
Yeah.
Funny story, I don't think we actually mentioned the name of the game in our last podcast.
I believe not, but they were also posted on their own pages, so...
That is true. Conspiracy Prophecy 20... Actually, I've, anyway, abbreviated it to CP17. I don't think Isaac really... he made a promise to himself at the beginning of this project to not abbreviate it.
That was actually me. I promised him
that was you?
that I would never abbreviate it, and I have also called it Conspiracy Theory several times.
I just say CP, because, yeah. I think CP17... Yeah, that's more syllables than Voidwalker, so, nah.
Conspiracy Prophecy 2017.
But you can, whatever. Either way, we want to talk about the factions today, because I really enjoyed the factions. They were, I think I had more fun with these than coming up with some of the initial events that we had there. Although, let me tell you, the events have been infinitely fun since. But we have 8 factions on the New World Advisory Lunar Council that you are the head of, and your job is to kind of balance out these factions, sort of. Like, you want them all to like you, and you want them all to get along and work together, but you're going to want a really high disposition with at least one or more by the end, so that you can take this friend that you've made and save the world, because you're going to need at least one of them to save the world in the end. So we'll start with Mr. X. Mr. X is he's the embodiment of the man. He's like the head of all corporations in the world. He's the invisible hand that, Adam Smith said runs the world economy. We just kind of see him as this old business dude, like, sitting at the table. We kind of based him off, or his design off of a Mr. Smith from The Matrix, because he's everywhere. Money is everywhere, so Mr. X is everywhere. And every faction has an ally, I guess, allies in quotation marks, just a person that they get along with really well, and they have a rival, someone whose
Style?
Someone whose interests conflict with their own. So, Mr. X is allied with the Void Dancers. I'll get to them later. They're they're kind of the assassins group of, not just assassins, but the entire underworld. Assassins and thieves and seductresses and kind of like, again, if we're talking Matrix, think of the Merovingian sort of deal. So they get along with Mr. X. And then his rival is Turbo Populus Supreme, who is one of the other really good factions at getting sheeple, or getting followers. Both Mr. X and Turbo Pope, they have a lot of followers, and their followers are kind of diehard. You are, once you belong to their faction, you don't really flip-flop.
Next we have the lizard aliens. And so one day I don't remember what we were doing. We were researching all of the
Story time with Marco.
Story time. And I remember, and I never watched it because I don't want to have that video in my browsing history, but I saw a video on YouTube called Conspiracy Obama and Lizard Alien something. It was like some crazy title about Obama being a lizard alien. And upon Googling those terms together, there are a lot of conspiracies about people in the government being lizard aliens. So obviously we had to make a faction. We wanted to make an alien faction to begin with, but then we decided to make them lizards because then we're just tying everything together. And the lizard alien would be the one in charge of he's essentially the Earth's ambassador to all of the alien nations. His particular race is very intrinsically allied with the Earth. That's why he's in the council. That's why he cares. But he's also the one that's also always worried about how Earth will look in the intergalactic market and in the intergalactic theater, because we're obviously a player in the cosmos. We just don't know about it.
It's a conspiracy.
It's a conspiracy, obviously. His ally is the Fae Queen, because they're both, let's say, quote unquote, non-human, and so usually they have to act in the same manner, and so they tend to get along. And their enemies are the Builders, because they tend to quibble a lot about resource usage, since spaceships cost money, and so do teleporters, and so do keeping all of their stuff hidden.
And I'm sure the Builders don't want, the aliens to use Earth's resources to make space stuff, and they also probably don't want alien resources to come in and not tamper, what's a good word? Corrupt Earth's resources. So. By the way, just pointing out that lizard aliens are from the conspiracy lizard aliens that you can, easily Google search and look up. They are not in any way resembling any popular race from popular fantasy games that may or may not be played by everyone listening to this podcast.
Well, considering that I can think of 4 or 5 different series of games, completely unrelated to each other, that all have lizards that look a lot like this, I think we're fine.
Okay. Just wanted to, put that out there. These are the conspiracy lizard aliens, not the fantasy lizard alien types from other popular games.
Aliens. They were just lizards.
That's a good point. It's a conspiracy.
It is a conspiracy.
So the lizard aliens are allied with the Fae, and the Fae are not the Fae that you would think of as regular Fae. The Fae Queen governs all paranormal activity on Earth. I mean, we're talking everything from elves to werewolves to vampires to zombies to ghosts, undead of every sort, paranormal, background radiation, whatever, is being generated by her and her people. They are, of course we have all of the ghost stories, and you have, ghost hunters on TV and on the internet and stuff. They're chasing after the Fae, and the Fae love to lead these people on. They're incredibly mischievous, and, I don't know, they work really closely with the aliens, so they have, alien technology to a degree, just to further mess with the people that are trying to find them. So they've been working with the aliens for, ever. Since the aliens came to Earth, they've been working with the Fae. Well, the Fae court, let's call it, because vampires and werewolves and stuff aren't necessarily Fae. The Fae court also contains Satan.
Obviously.
Didn't we decide that?
Oh, yeah, Satan is a subject of the Fae Queen.
Yeah, okay, so, that's the thing. And along with the aliens, they are responsible for, building all of the ancient monuments on Earth, the pyramids and Stonehenge. They helped build Atlantis, and Atlantis is an incredibly important continent in this game that we will talk about at a later time. The Fae's rival, no one's an enemy here because we all rule the world, are the Illuminati. And this is mostly a control of information issue. The Fae are mischievous. They, go around bugging people with whatever kind of paranormal. It's not even radioactivity. What are those things? People go around with Geiger counters or.
Oh, when they were talking about ghosts.
Yeah.
Electromagnetic.
That's it.
Some other bullshit, I don't know. But yeah, the thing with the Illuminati and the Fae is that whenever there's a problem that someone finds something, because, all those things are real, the Illuminati are usually the ones. It's a conspiracy. The Illuminati are usually the ones that have to go and fix it. And although they're very, very good at keeping information suppressed, it's also work and they don't like it. They rather not have a leak than have to fix it. And so they're always at odds with the Fae, because the Fae love to almost leak things. Not quite disruptively do so, but it's fun.
So the Illuminati is led by the Grand Illuminator Supreme. And like Marco just said, they control all information distribution in the world. They created the internet, they created the printing press, they created, like, any technology that you can think of that is a way to both spread information, either truth or not, they created. And they control the release of information, they control, what's the word where you make it so people can't receive information?
Restriction?
No. Prohibited.
Prohibition?
Kinda?
Censorship?
Censorship, yes. They control all the censorship in the world. Probably an inordinate amount of it going to censoring the Fae, but that's just because they're at odds with each other.
A lot of cats.
Yes. The Illuminati are the reason that cats are popular on the internet. Well, more than internet. They've been popular since ancient Egypt, but probably because, you know what, somebody wanted to put some information on a wall that the Illuminati didn't agree with. Well, they carved a cat over it. And it's left its mark in the world's information trading ever since.
Catsership?
Catsership. That's a thing! And that is going in an event card. Catsership. Or he's gonna say that at some point.
Next we have the builders.
Oh wait, we didn't talk about, their ally. Well, I guess we can, yeah. Their ally are the builders. And builder, I mean, we went through a whole bunch of different words for builder, with builder, constructor, actually, they're led by you say that word, it's Italian. Gran Maestro.
Maestro. Gran Maestro Costruttore.
Okay. Yeah, but, you know, between constructor, builder, mason, whatever, stone cutter, these people control the world's resources. Obviously, they're at odds with the aliens, because the aliens, you know, we talked about have that issue with resources and wanting to use Earth resources on alien technology and wanting to bring alien resources onto Earth. The builders don't like that very much, so they're always trying to fight the aliens on that one.
They could dig a giant hole and just sit on all of their resources. They would probably be happy forever. Unfortunately, we have to spend them, and so there's always a constant battle to gather more of them.
Yeah. Yeah. They're allied with the Illuminati, like we said, and between the two of them, controlling, you know, they're the two human factions that control resources and information, which makes them a very powerful alliance. So most likely, if you make friends with one, you've made friends with the other. If you've made one angry, you've probably made the other angry too. So our next alliance group starts with Turbo Populist Supreme.
We touched upon him a little bit when we were talking about Mr. X. Mr. X. No, Mr. X?
Mr. X. He's his rival.
Right.
Turbo Populist is head of all world religions, because, you know, in reality...
It's a conspiracy.
It is a conspiracy. In reality, there's only one, but, you know, it's better to keep people fighting and squabbling over little differences, and keep different people separated into different faith groups so that it's easier for him to rule over them. This is probably what's going to get us in the most trouble with people online,
Most likely,
but
yeah.
you know what? It's a conspiracy. He's been head of the world religions for, God, I think 12,000 years, since the Neolithic Revolution anyway. Maybe before that. We don't know. It's a conspiracy. But we do know that 12,000 years ago, he created his ally, who are the Knights Templar. And he created the Knights Templar to enforce, be the world religions' military enforcement. But since then, you know, the Knights Templar have become a lot more than just that. But they will always be, first and foremost, loyal to Turbo Populist. And as we mentioned before, their rival is Mr. X, because what worse sin is there than material wealth and wants? You know, and like I said too before, if somebody is a sheeple of Mr. X and not of, you know, they will be least receptive to the faction followers of Turbo Populist. And both of them have such a sway over their followers that it'd be really hard to convert one even just away from it, much less to the other side. Oh, he also believes that Mr. X, draws people away from him because of greed, even though that's probably not very true. If you're a follower of Turbo Populus, you're not going over to Mr. X.
Well, it's a conspiracy.
Exactly.
So as we mentioned, talking about Turbo Populus, the Knights Templar are enforcers. They're essentially the world army for the New World Order. Very militaristic, very set in their ways. They're very direct. Not just
the army, they're the secret police, too.
That too. Their solution to everything is send soldiers with guns, and they fix it. And that's definitely the case sometimes, just not all the time. And we couldn't possibly make their enemies anything else other than the assassins.
Yes. Yes. So much so, Knights Templar, by the way, are led by the Grandmaster Templargo Knight. And like Marco said, their rivals are the Void Dancers, because the Void Dancers are underworld crime bosses, thieves, seducers, seductresses, hitmen, all of the mafias, and the assassins. Void Dancers are actually, if we're going to be technical about this, that's not a faction created for this world. That's a faction created out of Voidwalker that I've been able to convince everyone to put in here, as well as their head is Void Mistress Arnora. If you've seen anything about Voidwalker, Arnora is one of the main characters of Voidwalker, so we had to sneak her in here a little bit because I love her character. So we've got a little bit of Voidwalker in this game.
And if you're wondering, yes, she does look that angry all the time.
Yeah, Arnora's never happy no matter what game she's in.
Well, she's had to come to she became the head of all of the criminal and underworld gangs and organizations of the world. You don't do that by being happy.
True. And I guess in Voidwalker she has to deal with Caius, so that's enough to make her angry too, isn't it? Poor Caius. We rip on Caius so much, but he doesn't deserve it.
Anyway, conspiracy perhaps?
Yeah, CP-17. It's a conspiracy. The aliens brought her over from the Voidwalker world.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all of them.
She's allied with Mr. X. Just to kind of circle back around here a little bit, Mr. X, like I said, he's the head of all corporations and stuff. Well, if he's the man, then her and her people are the muscle. So they're kind of the coercive, corporate greed, manipulative, underworld sort of enforcers that Mr. X will hire to get things done.
Less overtly than the Templars, though, where the Templars will be the people that break the window with like a SWAT team and shoot everyone. They'll be the guys who do a hostile takeover.
Right, but the Templars are much more within the law. The Void Dancers, they're like the chaotic evil side.
Lawful evil. They still follow rules.
No, they're not lawful. Like, that's the point.
I guess not.
They're mafia and assassins and thieves and seductresses. They're not lawful. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Anyway.
You're giving me a weird look.
So that's all of them. That's all the factions. We just wanted to get a little bit more in depth.
Kind of give an idea into our mindset making this game. And really, these are the framework of how we've made all of our events. Like, all of our events are made with at least one or more of these guys in mind, thinking that all conspiracies are rooted in these 8 factions. We're always going to have events with solutions based upon at least one or more of these factions.
And it's very rare that you're going to get an event where you don't at least make one of them happy and another one of them unhappy.
Yeah. Sometimes very unhappy. Or
Sometimes very, very, very happy, depending on the situation. You will always have a choice. So long as you have resources, you have many choices, but you will always have a choice when it comes to those things.
Pro tip, if you have an option to add cats, the Illuminati are probably going to be really happy about that.
Always.
Yeah. So that's that. I hope you enjoyed this update from Conspiracy Prophecy 2017. Yeah, you spread the word, tell your friends, pass this along, and go reserve your copy now on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. Have a good night.
All right. See you later.